That's a bad man right there, Gary. He once killed 2 stones with 1 bird. You think Pete's fired up?
Do not flash the camera in my approach. You on, don't miss. You wanted it, you got it.
Help.
Pete Weber, the bad boy of bowling, PDW. This man was arguably the most entertaining bowler to watch during the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. His brash personality always seemed to come out in the big spotlight.
Now wait a minute, Pete, don't get too pumped up.
Crotch chops, slap outs, and swearing on live television, Pete Weber was must-see TV, even if you didn't like the guy. And on February 26th, 2012, Weber was the center of one of the greatest moments in sports history. Let's take a brief look back at Weber's career, the nicest US Open tournament in history, and the nationwide sports attention that followed this moment. And Pete Weber is not just this unhinged professional bowler. He is also just really good. His smooth style and open hand release are iconic and led him to, before 2012, amassing 35 PBA Tour titles, 8 major titles, and 4 US Open titles, and is a PBA Hall of Famer since 1998. Side note, in professional bowling, you can be a Hall of Famer before you retire if you have 10 titles and 20 years on tour. So at that point, that was Pete Weber, and so he was a Hall of Famer in 1998. However, the tournament where this legendary moment occurred was the 2012 US Open. Heading into this event, Pete Weber's last win was in 2010 when he defeated Mike Scroggins 268 to 224. His last major win was 5 years ago in 2007. He was hungry, and he was looking to do the unthinkable, win his 5th US Open title. The US Open in bowling is typically the most challenging event to win. You compete on the hardest conditions with the best bowlers in the world, and you bowl a lot of games. 24 games of qualifying, then 8 games after one cut, and 24 games of match play for a total of 56 games. It is a grind. Back in 2012, 394 bowlers competed in that first 24 games. Then they cut to 98 for the next 8 games, and then cut to top 24 for match play. Lots of bowlers, lots of competition, and an extremely challenging oil pattern. To win this event once is pretty remarkable. Twice is insane.
His second US Open comes today.
But 4 times is legendary. 5 times is unthinkable and puts you in the category of 1. But that is what Pete Weber was setting out to do. Win his 5th US Open title. And after 56 games, Weber made the show as the 4th and final seed. And if he was going to win, he would have to climb the ladder. But Weber nearly lost every single match he faced in this TV finals, and he didn't just point at the crowd and yell his famous line randomly at the end. He was fighting with someone in the crowd the whole TV show, and that's what we'll break down. So let's take a deep look back at the nicest US Open tournament telecast in bowling history. Weber's first matchup was against Ryan Schaefer, a 24-year tour veteran who was hungry for his first major title. And from the first frame, you could tell that Pete was gonna be Pete.
We're underway for the US Open. And he got it!
That's a bad man right there, Gary. He once killed 2 stones with 1 bird.
Weber fell behind early with a split in frame 2, and a costly mistake in frame 6 when he missed the 10-pin caused him to fall even more behind. It was not looking good for the 4-time US Open champ. However, for some reason, it seemed like Pete was so mad at himself for missing that spare that something deep within him started to surface. He got ticked off, and you never want to tick off Pete Weber, because all he'll do is strike. To make matters worse for Schaefer, he opened in the 7th frame. Then, in the 8th frame, he threw a Brooklyn strike. Now, a quick side note, a Brooklyn strike is when the bowler's ball crosses over to the opposite side of the headpin of the bowler's throwing hand. So a right-hander, a Brooklyn strike would be on the left side. A left-hander, a Brooklyn strike would be on the right side. It is an extremely fortunate break to have that ball strike, and this lucky break pissed off Weber even more. You had a ticked off Weber near the end of a match at the tournament where he wins the most on television, and that is a wicked and
Weber
toxic.
now looking to catch up here, and that's the way you do it. Trying for the big finish here, get a lead, put the pressure on. He does.
Schaefer faltered in the 10th frame, and Weber only needed a mark to win.
Whoever looking to advance here, it's in his hands. Got it!
Match 2 was up next against, at the time, a 2-title holder, Jason Belmonte. If you watched my previous video, you know Jason Belmonte's 31 tour titles. That's kind of crazy to think about Belmo only having 2 titles just about 10 years ago. Belmo elected Weber to start, and this was when we first noticed some tension starting to build between Weber and the crowd.
Pete Weber in our second match, getting ready to go. He got his silence after that one, I'll tell you. Pete Weber's got a strike.
See, that's what.
And he looked right.
After his strike, Weber pointed over to the crowd in what looked like the front row. This was the beginning of the intense build-up between Weber and whatever or whoever was bugging him in the crowd. And at the time, you couldn't really tell who he was pointing to. It was very difficult to see.
Last night talking about. Let's see how it goes. He's on.
Bowled the tournament a few times, and to be able to win it 4 times is just...
It is also very interesting to point out the angles at play here. Pete Weber and Ryan Schaefer were both playing very inside lines and hooking the ball, while Belmonte is playing outside of everyone and throwing it really hard and really straight. You might typically think Belmonte would be the one to get inside and hook it, and later on in Belmo's career we see that as his bread and butter. But in this instance, not so much. And then in frame 3, Pete threw a bad shot and again made some comments towards the crowd.
Can you stop moving over there, please? Please stop moving while I'm on my approach. That's all I ask.
The tension was building, and when Pete was up again in the 4th and 5th, Pete dialed it in.
You think I'm going to talk when he's getting ready, you're crazy. And he got a strike. After his 3rd strike. Yep.
Both Don Carter and Dick Weber won the BPAA All-Stars a record 4 times.
After spares by Belmo in frames 5 and 6, and a spare for Weber in frame 6 as well, we were all tied up heading into the 7th frame, when it happened again.
Matched up here. Trying to move to the...
It continued to build, and the commentators could feel the immense tension.
Now, we're a long way off from him, so I don't think he heard me talking.
I'm taking cover.
And he's got glass in front of me, so I'm ducking.
Who's now?
Move again.
Now, it was Belmo's turn to respond.
3 strikes, they each have 3. And he comes back and gets his 4th. On a back-to-back strikes. He's in, and he does.
Belmo trails by 11 pins heading into
Weber with
Pete's
the lead,
next
trying to
shot.
extend it. Got it.
We can trip the 4, so can I.
Chip competition than this guy.
We can trip the 4, so can I.
In the 9th frame, the entire crowd was absolutely terrified. You can see this guy back with his hand over his mouth, like just to make sure he doesn't say anything and piss off Weber even more.
After the strike, not to be shut out. Yeah!
Gary, you know how...
Weber buries the 8th and 9th, and now he cannot be shut out. Belmo steps up in the 9th and 10th, knowing he needs them all.
To that trophy for the 5th time. Jason Belmonte. Got it! Belmonte keeping his hopes alive. Yes, he does. Belmonte. Got it.
Big shot.
And on the final ball, Belmo needed to strike to force Weber to get 9 spare strikes, but Belmonte gets 8. All Weber needs is 9 spare 9 or a strike to win.
Strike here would set him up. He got it.
He buries the strike and gets the win. And despite his ticked-off nature during the telecast, he did have some great words for Belmonte.
Yes, Jason Belmonte.
And there's going to be plenty more times for us, too.
We move on to the championship match now. Pete Weber versus Mike Fagan. Now, Mike Fagan was coming off a major victory at the USBC Masters and was trying to win back-to-back majors. And Mike Fagan said himself that he was bowling the best he has ever bowled. So he had a Hall of Famer looking to capture a record 5th US Open versus Mike Fagan, arguably the best bowler on the planet at the time. And boy, did this match live up to the hype. The tension had kind of subsided when the match started, but it didn't take long. In the 2nd frame, we get another Weber stare down.
That pin has stood up all day. That
Really?
10.
Do that again.
got it.
It's called sportsmanship, pal.
And a stare down and comment that happened again in the
And
third
we'll get
frame.
his spare. So Pete Weber gets the spare and gives the stare.
Now, I think it might be important to ask ourselves something. Are the incidents in this game the same as the incidents in the other game? Because remember, back in the previous matches, he was upset at someone moving.
Please stop moving while I'm on my approach. I'll ask.
Now this time, he seems to be upset for some other reason. And this was Jason Belmonte's take on what was going on in the crowd on that fateful day.
And we've all seen that very famous quote, "Who do you think you are? I am." But that started with him pointing to someone in the crowd for doing something. Now I was bowling on that show when it all started, and there was no one doing anything. And he kept pointing at someone going, "I want him removed." And in my head I'm like, who is he talking to? No one is doing anything.
Randy Peterson said it best.
Somebody's rooting against Pete over there on that side, and they just said something when Pete left the ringing 10, and Pete doesn't like it and gave it right back to him.
The tension could be cut with basically anything at this point. Every time Pete stepped up, the world was afraid, but the world was watching. A couple spares from Weber meant Fagan was given the opportunity to take an early lead.
Got it.
However, Weber made a ball change and started to make a comeback.
Found that one.
Fagan, with a bad break in the fifth, folded the lead again to Weber. They were all even heading into the seventh frame for Fagan, but he could take the lead with a strike.
Big bend and got him. Ooh.
After Fagan's spare in the eighth, Weber had another opportunity to climb ahead of Fagan.
He's got a hook. Oh, baby, yeah!
After this big strike, we get what would be an omen from Randy Peterson.
Weber's got to somehow summon his greatest shots in the next 3 frames. And when I say 3 frames, I mean 9th, 10th, and 11th.
And in the ninth, Weber showed up.
After 3 consecutive strikes. Got it!
A final crowd stare down in the ninth nearly sealed his victory. Weber, heading into the 10th frame, could not be shut out of his 5th US Open title. The tension was immense. The entire crowd, very quietly, was on the edge of their seat. What would Fagan do in the 9th and 10th? Fagan did not go down easily.
Finally looks up, watching Fagan. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Wow. Fagan finishing it up with a strike.
After the incredibly clutch finish from Fagan, Weber needed 9 spare strike to win.
Hands up. The 10. Not yet.
My goodness, what a great shot Weber just threw right there. Gotta make it.
For the spare. Just one.
With the 9 spare secured, there was one thing left for Weber to do. One shot. Strike to win by 1 pin. Gary Thorne is on the call.
Strike to claim it. A strike to claim it. And he got it!
That is right, I did it! That's number 5! Are you kidding me? That's right! Who do you think you are? I am! Get it right!
Bowling history. The only player ever to win 5 U.S. Opens. Pete Weber.
Well, what did he just say? Who do you think you are? I am? What does that even mean? Who is he talking to? The strange celebration statement was as enigmatic as a riddle wrapped in a mystery. I think what happened after the fact was even more extraordinary. The soundbite, "Who do you think you are? I am," went mega viral. Everybody in the sports world was talking about this clip. 10 million views on YouTube.
Who do you think
millions
you
of
are?
clips, sound bites about this amazing
Who do you
line.
think you
It was on
are?
Sports
I
Center,
am.
Sports Nation, and all the sports media was talking about it from all walks of life. People were saying, "Who do you think you are? I am." And it seems like every year on February 26th, all the sports media socials are posting about Pete Weber's famous line. There truly is something so special about it. The grammatically incorrect / kind of makes sense sentence is funny but also amazing. It was a culmination of all the tension in the crowd, Pete Weber's 5th US Open, and striking on the final ball to win by one single pin. And it just came out in pure, raw emotion. Pure, raw Pete Weber for the world to see.
Who do you think you are? I am!
That's why this was the shot heard around the world.
Strike to claim it. A strike to claim it. And he got it!
Who do you think you are? I am!
As you can tell, bowling is my favorite sport. However, I can't shake my love for football. I wanted to talk about this incredible game I found called Fozzie Football. It's a shuffleboard football game where you use a shuffle puck to shoot at run or pass targets and move the ball down the field. And if your shuffle puck crosshairs land on the white line, you get a touchdown. Down and distance, score, and line of scrimmage are all tracked with the free Fozzie Football app. I have had hours and hours of fun playing this with my friends and family. It is beyond worth the price. This is a must-have for your man cave, or if you're tailgating, or on game day. Now, I want to be clear, I am not sponsored by Fozzie Football to make this video, but I do have an affiliate link in the description, which means I may receive a commission when you click the link. If you are interested, click the link in the description, use code BOWLING for 10% off. If you purchase, this really helps my channel, and I hope to continue to make awesome bowling content for you guys, for the bowling community.